Assassin's Creed Shadows was supposed to be Ubisoft's grand redemption, a bold return to form that would reignite the franchise's magic and set a new bar for open-world RPGs. After years of faltering sales, controversies, and creative missteps, many fans pinned their hopes on Shadows delivering that elusive spark. A game set in Feudal Japan, one of the most requested settings in Assassin's Creed history, promised a fresh cultural backdrop, new gameplay mechanics, and a captivating story. But instead, what we got was a historic misfire. Just months after launch in March 2025, Shadows has lost nearly 98% of its player base. It's being overshadowed not only by recent AAA RPGs, but also by decade-old Assassin's Creed games like Odyssey and Origins. Ubisoft's proud announcements of millions of players reached feel hollow when stacked against this steep drop-off and the vocal community backlash. So how exactly did Ubisoft go from promising the next great Assassin's Creed to facing what may be one of its biggest commercial failures? What went wrong creatively and corporately? And what does this all mean for the future of Assassin's Creed and Ubisoft as a whole? Before we get into the full breakdown, if you want to try out the latest games without emptying your wallet, remember that GameFly lets you rent physical copies and have them delivered right to your door. Click the link in the description to start your free trial today and explore the best in gaming without commitment. Now let's dive deep. A promised land, setting and story. The announcement of Assassin's Creed Shadows excited many fans. Feudal Japan is a rich, atmospheric era filled with samurai, ninjas, political intrigue, and stunning landscapes. Ubisoft had never fully explored this setting, and the anticipation was palpable. The story promised to focus on Yasuke, the African samurai who made history serving under a Japanese warlord, a fascinating figure ripe for storytelling. However, this choice sparked controversy from the outset. Many fans felt Yasuke's role as the protagonist was forced and detracted from an authentic portrayal of the period. Historically, Yasuke's story is compelling, but Ubisoft's creative decisions to place him front and center came across as tone-deaf or overly agenda-driven rather than organic. Critics accused the game of rewriting history and pushing a narrative that prioritized political messaging over compelling character development. Instead of drawing players into an immersive historical experience, Shadows alienated core fans and failed to resonate with the culture it sought to represent, including backlash from Japanese players and communities. Gameplay. A repetition of old formulas. Gameplay-wise, Assassin's Creed Shadows leaned heavily on the RPG elements Ubisoft had pushed in recent entries. We see massive open worlds, branching dialogue trees, gear upgrades, and loot systems, mechanics that clearly take inspiration from giants like The Witcher 3. The problem is that Shadows neither innovated nor refined these systems. Instead, it recycled tired design choices, grind-heavy side quests, fetch tasks, and repetitive combat encounters. The stealth action foundation that originally defined Assassin's Creed is barely visible here, replaced by a bloated RPG structure that many fans found exhausting. The game's narrative choices often felt disconnected from gameplay, failing to provide meaningful payoff or player agency. This lack of cohesion diminished player engagement, contributing to the rapid decline in its active community. Player data and community reaction. Numbers tell the clearest story. At launch, Shadows managed around 65,000 concurrent players on Steam. By June 2025, that number had fallen below 19,000, and that's just on Steam. If you get the numbers around the world, it could easily get close to 97% drop in just 3 months. To put that in perspective, older Assassin's Creed titles like Odyssey, 2018, and Origins, 2017, still draw significantly more players years after release. Odyssey recently averaged nearly 40,000 concurrent players on Steam, more than double Shadow's current count. Origins remains steady with around 2,800 active players, and Valhalla, despite a delayed Steam release, matches Shadows with over 2,300 players. Compare this to the broader RPG landscape. Elden Ring, released in 2022, continues to attract over 46,000 concurrent players daily. Cyberpunk 2077, which famously had a rough launch in 2020, has recovered to maintain around 35,000 players. The Witcher 3, almost a decade old, pulls over 27,000 players regularly. Shadows is not only losing players at an unprecedented rate, but is also being outperformed by older, proven games, including its own franchise's previous entries. Community sentiment reflects this data. Forums and social media are filled with disappointment and frustration. Many players cite repetitive gameplay, poor storytelling, and a sense that Ubisoft prioritized messaging over experience. Ubisoft's silence and sales transparency issues. Ubisoft's official communications have leaned heavily on player milestone numbers. They proudly declared Shadows reached 3 million players within weeks of launch. But this figure is misleading. How many of those players joined through free Ubisoft Plus trials? How many stuck around beyond a few hours? Ubisoft hasn't clarified, and that silence speaks volumes. On public platforms like Steam, where sales and player numbers are more transparent, Shadows underperforms drastically. The lack of sales transparency fuels community distrust, creating a gap between marketing spin and reality. The corporate struggle behind the failure. Assassin's Creed Shadows' failure is not just about one game. It's symptomatic of deeper issues at Ubisoft. Under the Guillemot family leadership, Ubisoft has repeatedly shown a disconnect from what made its franchises beloved. They have either abandoned or diluted key IPs, chasing trends rather than innovating authentically. The franchise's shift from stealth action to bloated RPGs reflects a strategic gamble that hasn't paid off. Shadows had all the ingredients for success: a popular setting, historical intrigue, and a passionate fanbase. Yet it fell short due to misguided creative leadership and poor execution. Choosing Yasuke as the lead, forcing narrative agendas, and ignoring player feedback have left Ubisoft isolated from its core audience. What this means for the future. Looking forward, Ubisoft is at a crossroads. Shadow's failure underscores the urgent need for new leadership, fresh creative vision, and transparent communication with the gaming community. The franchise risks further alienation if Ubisoft doesn't course correct. Fans want meaningful stories, innovative gameplay, and respect for franchise roots, not recycled formulas or hollow messaging. Ubisoft's survival may depend on learning from these mistakes and rebuilding trust through quality, authenticity, and player-focused design. Final verdict. Assassin's Creed Shadows serves as a cautionary tale for both Ubisoft and the wider gaming industry. It proves that even the biggest brands can stumble dramatically when they stray too far from what made them beloved, neglect core audiences, and prioritize political narratives over compelling experiences. The game's colossal failure is a warning sign that Ubisoft's current direction is unsustainable. The franchise's legacy is at stake, overshadowed by a title that couldn't live up to its promise. But it's not too late. If Ubisoft embraces transparency, listens to its fans, and returns to bold, authentic storytelling, there's hope for redemption. Until then, Shadows remains a stark reminder of how creative missteps can lead a once-great series into decline. Let me know your thoughts below. Did Assassin's Creed Shadows miss the mark for you? What should Ubisoft do next to save the franchise? Don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives on the biggest games, anime, and nerd culture topics. And once again, if you want to explore the latest games without breaking the bank, check out GameFly. Their physical game rentals delivered straight to your door make it easy to play without buying. Links in the description. Thanks for watching What's Up Nerd Insider. See you next time.